Well, you've been diagnosed with prediabetes and you're scared and confused. Both of those things are normal. I remember when I received the diagnosis myself over a decade ago. I ignored the diagnosis, and within a few years I had full-blown type 2 diabetes. If I had acted sooner, I think there is a good chance that I could have avoided the disease by doing what I did after my type 2 diagnosis. I immediately decided to suck it up, Buttercup, to grow up, to start doing the things I needed to do to at least stop my diabetes from progressing, if not completely reversing it. I'm Lorraine, and I have been successfully managing my type 2 diabetes for over 10 years, but had gestational diabetes with 2 pregnancies and prediabetes for 4 years. My goal is to inspire people with prediabetes to wake up and to realize that they can reverse their prediabetes. I firmly believed that prediabetes and type 2 diabetes were chronic progressive conditions that I couldn't do anything about with my lifestyle, with diet, or anything like that. It was just more and more medications, more pills, more injections as the years went on until you died of a heart attack or stroke early in life, or even worse, lived to an old age as a type 2 diabetic with legs gone, with kidneys failed, with eyes blind. I definitely didn't want that for myself. I want to tell you what I do now. This will absolutely help you reverse prediabetes. This strategy is how I keep my diabetes under control today, easily and deliciously, and never have to worry about all those terrible complications of type 2 diabetes. Many doctors discount prediabetes and say, "Oh well, it's not too bad. You've got a touch of sugar. Don't worry about it. We'll check it again next year." But prediabetes starts all the disastrous complications of type 2 diabetes. The damage is being done right now, even if your A1C was 5.7, 5.8. There is no such thing as just a little pre-diabetic. The damage is being done right now. I want you to understand how important your diagnosis of prediabetes is. I also want you to understand the great opportunity you've been given now that you have this information. You can immediately start to not only prevent type 2 diabetes, but reverse your prediabetes. And you can do it just like I did years ago when I was first diagnosed. I immediately started to make changes. I got motivated. I said, I'm not going to become a type 2 diabetic. And so I immediately educated myself on guidelines for what I should eat and what I should not eat. I got rid of all the junk food with all the added sugars, all the desserts, all the soft drinks, all of that stuff. I started eating lots of whole grains and lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. I cut way back on saturated fat because that's what the experts said to do. I started exercising 5 days a week. That sounds like a good strategy, right? But here's the truth. When I rechecked my numbers 3 months later, I had actually gained more weight. I was morbidly obese at that time, and my prediabetes had actually gotten worse. This was a shocker. I didn't give up. I dug in to see what the heck was happening. I'm doing everything the experts said to do, and my numbers were getting worse. I did a lot of reading, lots of research, lots of thinking, and this is what I found to reverse my diabetes. You can use this for yourself as well. After my diagnosis, I got a glucometer. I highly encourage you to get either a glucometer, which is a blood sugar checker where you prick your finger and check your blood sugar, or better yet, get a continuous glucose monitor. These are commonly known as CGMs. I got one and started using it after I had failed to improve my diabetes by following the experts' guidelines and working out. So I started to check my blood sugar both before I would eat and after. I would record what I ate so that I could see which foods would give me a spike and which ones wouldn't. I would eat, and honestly, I checked it multiple times a day. A CGM is much better because you don't have to prick your finger multiple times a day. You just put the tiny probe in your arm and it works for about 2 weeks. It also syncs that data right to your smartphone, which is super convenient. I started to notice patterns that when I would eat a meal that had lots of carbohydrates, whether they were processed carbohydrates like bread, or whether they were natural carbohydrates like fruits, my blood sugar would spike up. One thing I learned is that when your blood sugar is high like that, you're actually glycating all of the cells and tissues in your body. This leads to all the damage and all the pains and aches and inflammation from being a pre-diabetic or a diabetic. So even when I would be eating natural, organic, non-GMO fruits, my blood sugar would spike up really high. This is not even measuring the fructose. That's just measuring the glucose that I got from the fruit. A little known fact is that the fructose from fruit and from grains actually glycates your cells and tissues more than glucose. So even when I rechecked my A1C, which is glycated hemoglobin, it went up because I was eating so many more grains and so many more fruits and vegetables because the experts told me that's what I should do. Instead of getting healthy, I was actually glycating my cells more than I was back when I was eating just junk food. I started to eat lower carbohydrate meals. I would notice that my blood sugar wouldn't spike as high. When I would eat meals that were completely carbohydrate-free, like for breakfast I would have bacon and eggs, I would have no blood sugar spike whatsoever. Bacon and eggs have no glucose to speak of and have no fructose, and therefore I would have no blood sugar spike. I thought, well, if my blood sugar is not spiking, then I'm not glycating my hemoglobin or anything else for that matter. That's very good. I continued to do that. So I continued eating a lower and lower carbohydrate diet, and after about 3 months of doing that, my A1C, my hemoglobin A1C, had actually gotten much, much better than it was when I was eating the diet that was recommended for diabetics, and honestly, even better than it was when I was eating the junk food diet. I thought, wow, I must be really onto something here. How come no one else is talking about this? Why aren't the diabetes experts talking about a low-carbohydrate diet? A little further down the road, I just discovered the ketogenic diet, and then a bit further, I discovered a carnivore diet, which is basically a zero-carbohydrate diet. I stuck to a ketogenic diet and added another big tool, intermittent fasting. When I combined a ketogenic diet, which is a very, very low-carbohydrate diet that's low in added sugar, but it's also very, very low in natural sugars, and implemented 16 to 18 hours of intermittent fasting every day, I saw results. My numbers normalized, the inflammation dropped, my weight plummeted. It's very easy to get accustomed to this lifestyle if you're eating a high-fat diet like the ketogenic diet. It's high-fat, high-protein, so you're just not hungry as much. You don't get those every 2-hour munchies or that every 2 or 3 hour hangry feeling like when you're eating lots of whole wheat bread, lots of fruits, and lots of other carbohydrates. You're just full and satiated, and you can actually get on with your life. Either work hard or play hard, whichever one you need to do at the moment. To sum up, I used a very low carbohydrate diet. Some would call it a ketogenic diet, some a low-carb diet, some a carnivore diet. I call it the proper human diet because I think human beings are, by design, low-carbohydrate animals. If you feed us too many carbohydrates, whether they're from junk food like donuts and pizza crust, or whether they're from much more natural carbohydrates like fruits and vegetables, if you feed a human being too many carbohydrates, they become pre-diabetic and ultimately type 2 diabetic. I have reversed my diabetes, and I've kept my hemoglobin A1C at a very, very low, normal, healthy level. I'm having much less glycation of all my tissues. I have much less inflammation now, and I never have to worry about the complications of type 2 diabetes. I still exercise 6 days a week because I enjoy it. It helps me build muscle, and honestly, I feel great. You know, I have friends who have followed my advice without really exercising that much. Eating a diet that's delicious, nutritious, and very satiating, even without much exercise, still produces results. I'm just not hungry for many, many hours of every single day now. The Diabetic Voice is designed to provide all the strategies I use to reverse my diabetes. You can do the same thing. It works for every single human being on the planet with prediabetes. It also works if you've already been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. It's going to help you completely reverse your type 2 diabetes. When it comes to reversing prediabetes and diabetes, you know this information. I want you to understand there's hope. You're not doomed. If you found this information helpful, kindly subscribe to our channel. This helps us grow. Please honor me with a click on the bell so you will be notified when new videos are posted. And finally, if you learned one thing in this video, Please comment below so I know what is valuable to you.